Hi, welcome to Mary Lou's Cooking. Today we're making a simple butternut squash soup. You'll be able to find the recipe in the comment section below, all written out. But if you watch this short video, you'll get the whole recipe right here. This soup is great if you make some roasted vegetables on the side and throw the vegetables right in the soup. Ooh, it's delicious. Or just have it by itself. We're going to start with the squash. We know how hard it is to cut and peel a butternut squash when it's raw. So we're going to take the easy way out by baking it and softening it up first, like you would a baked potato. Poke a few holes in the squash, put it on a small baking dish like this, and put it in the oven at 400 for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. You know it's done when you can put a knife in the neck and it goes through nice and soft. It'll get nice and brown too. The good thing about this is after the squash is done, if you're not ready to cook your soup, you can put it in the refrigerator and use it the next day. All right, let's get started. Here's a nice snapshot of the whole recipe right here. I used a squash that was about 3 or 4 pounds. We're going to use 4 to 5 cups of water or vegetable broth, 1 cup of cooked quinoa, an onion, 2 or 3 cloves of garlic, and about an inch of fresh ginger. The flavoring is rosemary and sage, and we'll add salt and pepper at the end to taste. I've let the squash cool down enough I can handle it, and you see how nice and easy it is to cut. I don't even have to peel it, because these seeds and this pulp, we'll just scoop it right out. It tastes so good too after it's roasted like this. I'll put all this flesh into a bowl and set it aside. This will be the base for our soup. I'm going to cut up the onions, the garlic, which I just give it a good smash, and that peel comes right off. I'll chop that up and put it into. It doesn't have to be chopped fine because we are going to put an immersion blender in this soup at the end. I'm grating up a little bit of ginger, about a teaspoon, and I am going to saute all of that in a 1/4 cup of oat milk. As you've probably seen in many of my other videos, the oat milk just makes it so creamy and nice instead of using oil. With the rosemary, I'll just peel that right off of the stick, and I will chop that up and put that in as well, remembering that I am going to use the immersion blender. If you're using dried rosemary, you can use about 1/2 teaspoon. You can see the onions and garlic are just getting nice and browned in here. So I'm going to add my spices, my quinoa, and my squash now. I'm going to start by adding only 2 cups of water to begin with. I'll give it a stir, get it nice and hot, and I'll let it simmer for about 10 minutes. When I check it again, I can see that it's still quite thick. So at this point, I'm going to add 1 more cup of water or vegetable broth if that's what you're going to use. I'm also going to add some fresh ground pepper now, and about 1/2 teaspoon of salt. You can always taste it later and add more if you need to. I'm going to cover it and let it simmer for another 10 minutes. I won't add more broth until I'm ready to do the immersion blender. In the meantime, I'm chopping up a little parsley to just make it look pretty. Whenever I use an immersion blender, I always make sure to put a towel underneath, because once you start using it, the pan could start to move, and that could be dangerous, especially if it's still hot when you're using it. This immersion blender is going to make this soup nice and creamy and thick. You can also add more broth or water at this point if it's still too thick. I'm adding about another cup. Make it as thick or thin as you like. You can serve this right away while it's good and hot. Add a little parsley to make it look beautiful, or just save it for a meal for another day. For more plant-based recipes, please subscribe to my channel. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. This will help others to find my recipes. Thanks for watching.